Hello. Today I'm looking as part of my evaluation, and I'm looking to answer the question: in what ways does your media product use, develop, or challenge forms and conventions of real media products? Now, my group, we chose to do a documentary, and there are several ways in which we used the conventions of the documentary genre when we were constructing our piece of documentary. The way in which we sort of conformed and used this, we used voiceovers to sort of link sections together, talk over sections, to explain things, and also to ask questions for the interviews. Now, interviews, we had 3 or 4 interviewees, which are quite an important key point to use when making a documentary. To get the professional opinions, not necessarily the professional opinions, but the opinions of lots of different people that are related to the topic you're talking about. So we had 3 or 4 of them. We chopped those around and used the relevant parts of that to construct what we wanted to. We used vox pops, which are like little short sections similar to interviews. You would sort of sit a group of people down, and you'd ask them the same or similar questions, and you'd try and provoke an answer that you're trying to get to help you construct what you want, and you'd sort of fire them simultaneously, and you end up with this little snippet of nice bubbly information which makes your topic sound more interesting and exciting. We also used things like facts, which we presented in a slightly different way, which I'll get onto a little bit later on. Those are the key ones that stand out to me that we used well, but there are plenty of other conventions of this documentary genre. Now, I'm going to talk about the way in which the documentary genre has changed. Over the past 3 to 4 years, Channel 4 and Channel 5 have sort of taken over the way we see documentaries nowadays, and have changed it in some ways for the better, and in some ways for the worse. They're now more culturally charged, and they're all very sort of relevant and up to the minute topics. What they've also done is they've taken topics that people possibly were never particularly interested in, and by giving them an interesting title, make them sound far more interesting, or something you'd want to find out about, perhaps. For example, The Girl with 8 Limbs. It's a bit of an interesting title, and it would provoke quite a reaction from your audience. So it instantly grabs the audience's attention, which is exactly what you want to do to gain audience. So conforming with the sort of new, I say new, but the newer type of documentary genre, we chose to call our documentary "Girls with Balls," which I should probably explain before now that our documentary is on girls' football, so I hope that makes a little bit more sense. We think this would provoke a little bit of a reaction. It could be seen as quite funny, and it's obviously got its innuendo basis, which a lot of people would find amusing, particularly perhaps a younger audience, but that's not narrowing that down. We think that this works quite well is because the audience we're aiming at was sort of mainly a younger audience, so we think it was something that would sort of capture their attention. So they would probably find it quite amusing. Something that documentaries aren't famed for is comedy. Now, we took the decision to take a little bit of a risk and add a little bit of comedy into our piece through these sections called Funky Facts, which is what I was saying about earlier. With our facts, we had this funny old chap who dressed up in various costumes and wore various moustaches, dancing around and delivering these facts that were football and girls' football related. This helped break the documentary up in a way, and it sort of broke down the sections, and also made things more memorable to remember. It wasn't just a boring old chap saying "ooh, da, 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 da." It was quite up to beat, and it ties in with the audience we're aiming for. it's hopefully something that they would take more notice of and find more interesting. So yeah, that is probably the ways in which we've used, developed, and conformed with the documentary genre type. And overall, I think we've helped in a way to conform with this new documentary type. Not necessarily the older type, but the Channel 4, the Channel 5 genre type. So we think, and from the feedback we've got, which will be in another video, we think that this has worked well. So we're quite happy. Thank you very much for watching.